Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 22nd day of June, draft day in the NBA. A lot of big trades to talk about. More may come, but I doubt it. I don't think any other is going to come that it is to do with this particular draft. That doesn't mean something may happen before the negotiating period and signing period of free agency, which starts on June the 30th. So we'll talk about Marcus Smart, Jordan Poole. I'll go into that. The Atlanta Braves. I think I may have a take here also. I got a few minutes here. I'll take a take on that submarine story. Interesting there. So anyways, I'll be back here in 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running, folks, here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty then, I'm back here live on Links. Let's start with what broke this afternoon. And then we'll go back and backtrack on the Boston Marcus Smart leaving the Celtics here. So let's start with this one. Chris Paul traded to Golden State from Washington for Jordan Poole and 2030, 2027 first round and protected a second round and protected first round pick in 24. Poole, speaking of 24, he just turned 24. He's got 4 years left on his contract now. My thing is, this tells me that they are they picked the side. Golden State picked the side. Poole has he is going to relieve a lot of money off of the cap there of the Warriors. I don't know if they're going to keep the 38-year-old Chris Paul, although his numbers are better. He did play 59 games last year. Paul did. But my thing is, I think that they're going to keep they're going to go with the Draymond Green situation. I think that's a mistake. Now, Green will be 34 next year when the next season starts here. And you're also, as of now, although he's $30 million, but that contract expires. You've got Chris Paul there with a what are the 36 now, 36-year-old Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Who knows what's going to happen with Klay Thompson, who also wants a max contract there, but. So this goes back to that particular situation. You're talking about the Jordan Poole getting slugged by Draymond Green just after he signed that contract in mini camps, training camp, whatever, back in October of last year. Team never really had anything going. On the road. That they couldn't get any kind of momentum there. On the flip side, you've got Jordan Poole here, 24. His numbers. He's got a pretty good contract. $27 million cap hit this season, and he averaged I want to say he averaged almost 20-something points a game. Last year, 20 points, 4 assists. I mean, he didn't have a bad game. He just didn't rise to the occasion during the playoffs, talking about Jordan Poole. And that was the big knock on him. So you trade him, and I was reading that he can average 25 points plus. Did not really hit his potential there. And so you ask, why did they do it? Bail on a young player. So you can kind of look at the post-Jerry West Golden State Warriors. Now, Bob Myers, he stepped down. Longtime general manager there. During the building of these players here, he had stepped down at the end of this year. Now they got Mike Dunleavy Jr. But if you look at the Warriors, you kind of say, man, maybe they just got lucky with Draymond, Steph, and Clay. 2 of the 3 players are fathers played in the NBA. Maybe they just hit gold, man. Maybe they just struck gold, because my thing is struck gold, and then the Northern California, right? The 49ers. But, I look at that. They moved off a prospect in Jordan Poole. They moved off their former center there that they traded. God, his name is slipping my mind now. The first lottery pick they had a few years ago. They moved off him and moved him to Detroit somewhere. And, they didn't do a good job bringing in Wiggins, but, they haven't really had a lot of luck there. Wiseman, excuse me. Yeah. They moved Wiseman. They moved Poole. Okay. And you just got to think, maybe they just got lucky. You get a sense that maybe they just struck gold with those 2 players. And Draymond is more of an, Wiseman pickles. Yeah. So we'll see how this thing plays out here. But it opens up a lot of money. Now, I was looking, I didn't realize how far there are into the Forbes magazine. Now, remember, the new CBA comes into effect. Forbes wrote a story particularly talking about the new CBA, new collective bargaining agreement in the NBA. And it says that the Golden State Warriors and the Clippers each are 9-figure luxury tax bills this past season are projected to be over the second apron next year. Russell Westbrook and Mason Plumlee are the Clippers' only free agents. But the Warriors are projected to be more than $30 million more over, and Draymond Green could become a free agent. Of course, he's already declined. He's already declined that player option, and he's going to be a free agent again at 34 years old. But me personally, if I'm a Warriors fan, I don't really like this. I would have moved off of. I would have looked at moving Klay Thompson because of his age, and I would have let Draymond walk. I've mentioned that before. I would have let Draymond walk and went after Dillon Brooks because he's 7 years younger. You could probably get him for the same amount. They're very similar. I think somebody like a Dillon Brooks would, and maybe a Kyle Kuzma, who'd be a free agent. That's what I would do. And you can work in a 20-point guy like a Jordan Poole. Remember, Draymond Green punched him out. Green second in the league in techs, just behind Dillon Brooks. Ironically, right? Kind of the same guy if you think about it, But they wanted to keep Green because I guess they trust Green. They trust him, his own the court awareness and defense and everything. But I think he's getting long in the tooth, and he is obviously his antics have wear on you. But it's one thing when you're not actually living up to your standards here. So, but if you don't really like the Warriors, like I don't care for Steve Kerr for some of his nonsense, his social and political rhetoric. I'm kind of glad because I think it's bad for the Warriors. So, no, not good. Now, you say, what about the flip side? Now, the flip side, Washington gets another piece. This new president of operations, I can't remember his name. I've got it wrote down. Though they get part of their backcourt there. That's their shooting guard, which takes me on to the next story here. Now, I'm not sure what the Boston fans are going to think of this. I'll say this. Marcus Smart, very good player, won Defensive Player of the Year. He is pushing up on 30. They paid more. And if Boston doesn't do anything else, I feel like they slightly overpaid for Porzingis. Now, going back to last night, this deal fell through. The Clippers had cold feet on Malcolm Brogdon. That's everything I get. So let's throw that injury out of the and plus, so they trade Marcus Smart and they trade Gallinari, but they get Porzingis and 2 first-round picks in a 3-team deal that sends Marcus Smart, which is a huge get, Pickles, huge get for Memphis, especially when you've got Ja Morant out for 25 games. Smart can run the point there. But, looking at it, particularly from a Boston Celtics standpoint, I was reading that they're not finished. According to NESN.com, here's the trade in its whole. Okay, just sporting news. The Celtics will get Kristaps Porzingis. They'll get the 25th pick tonight in this draft that's probably started right now. They will get the first-round pick in 2024. I don't know if that's from the Grizzlies or not. These are kind of whack trades. And, of course, the Grizzlies will get Marcus Smart. The Wizards, now they get their point guard with Tyus Jones. So Jones at $14 million. And then you got $27 million for Jordan Poole. That's your backcourt. Both of them are less than Bradley Beal. I thought that was pretty funny. So both of these guys are less than Bradley Beal. Plus they've got Gallinari. Now he's coming off of injury. Remember, he was with Boston last year. He's coming off injury. Didn't play much at all. Mike Michela and a second-round pick, the 35th overall this year. So the Wizards just cleaning out a bunch of cap space, man. Cleaning out a bunch of cap space. Boston, again, last night, as far as the Porzingis thing, I still stand by that. Boston needed to get bigger. Boston needed to get the mid-range game. That's been missing from their repertoire. The pick is in. I'm pretty sure it's Andrew or Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, I'm going to play some interesting soundbite on that here in a few minutes. But anyways, so I do think that's a good play. Now, there's NESN, Northeast Sports Network, big covering of Celtics for a long time. They got the network. Their website today, Pickles, I was reading, their website today states that they're not done yet. They're not done yet. I do not think Derek White and who was the other guy? Broderick, who's coming off an injury. I do not think that that's going to be their point guards per se. So I think in a sense that they are going to, and this said they're going to go out there, Javante Murray, the point guard out of Atlanta. Now, he's got 1 year left on his contract. They may go after him. Very good player, originally acquired from the San Antonio Spurs. Now the Hawks, they've got a new head coach up there. Maybe and also we've heard about Trae Young being available. So maybe he's kind of wanting to go in a different direction. So Murray there would be a great pick for the Boston Celtics. So it's a B plus move for Boston right now. It'll be an A plus if they can bring in that other point guard. So I do think that would be really good if you ask me. You wish if you're Boston that last night's deal would have went through, but DeJounte Murray, I don't know if that's French or not. He's another guy, had a pretty good year last year, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, pretty solid player, $18 million, very good cap number there for Murray. So that would be huge for the Celtics there to open that up. And like I said, Porzingis here has had career best last year. One of the better and I read this stat last night. I'm going to let you guys know again. One of the better off the pick and roll big man. One of the better to execute the pick and roll big man in the game. Top 5 in both. Stat I read last night in both there for the Boston Celtics. Now, Pickles, check this out. Now, this Grizzly team, man, I'll tell you, that's huge for the Memphis Grizzlies, if you ask me. Memphis, again, you're going to have they need some more leadership. They need some more veteran presence there. You've got a Marcus Smart, 29-year-old Marcus Smart. Got him locked up, I want to say, for 3 more years here, okay? He's going to be filling in for Ja Morant. Will you possibly have an issue with him and Ja Morant bringing the ball up? I don't think so. I was reading that Boston had more fluidity in their offense when he didn't bring the ball up for them, bringing it up court. So I think that him and Ja Morant will take turns doing that. I do not. Now, I would love for Ja to play off the ball. He is a very quick player. He can get open. He can beat people off and be a run and shoot guy. So if I'm Memphis, I want to run some of that and let Marcus Smart bring the ball up. Let him bring the ball up. Let Ja play off the ball a little bit more often. But also someone said this is the first time you've had, I read this stat, interesting tidbit, Pickles. You've had a 2-time defensive player of the year on your team, back to back. You had Jared Jackson and you have Marcus Smart. Memphis already, especially, you get a healthy Steven Adams back there with Jackson, with Smart. And Ja, he's very quick on his feet too. That's a really good defensive team right there. That's a pretty big team right there. Once you get Brandon Clark back, and they might not be finished either as well. The Memphis, they may add some more pieces there for the Victor Wembanyama officially drafted. Okay, I will talk about that here in just a few minutes here. Okay, let's see. So, it's a talented team. Remember, they were the 2 seed. And you're going to butt heads. But like you said, Pickles, with the environment here, the last 2 defensive, that's unbelievable, man. This guy, NBA analyst, he from Spot Track, he said Boston gets bigger, Washington clears the deck, Memphis gets grittier and grinder. Well, that's all Memphis. That's all Memphis. Physicality, defense, high percentage shots, get the ball to the rim. That's Memphis. If anything, that should motivate Ja Morant. You've got that little extra veteran leadership in there, somebody to kind of back up Steven Adams. I'm not in love with their head coach. I wish they had more of a Pat Riley type of coach up there. Have more of a coach kind of like kind of like the head coach there at Denver, somebody of that nature. But that being said, it's huge for Memphis. And I do think that Boston will do something else. So I do think it's a B plus right now for Boston, but Boston will eventually do something else. They needed to get bigger. If they even hold Al Horford, it's hard to say. You could move Porzingis to the power forward, and Porzingis. I read a story. He desperately wanted to go. This time last night, we were talking about, is he going to opt out of that $30 million and want to really gouge Boston for a new contract? That wasn't the case. He wants to prove himself in Boston. He's happy to be on a contender like Boston, and you've added the new coaching staff there. Sam Cassell, you've added another assistant from Duke, so this team's going to be smarter there. And again, like I said, this team, according to this article I read out of NESN, they actually are more efficient when Tatum or Brown's bringing it up rather than the Marcus Smart. Although I did like Marcus Smart, I like his intensity. And Pickle says, yeah, Adams was missed by Memphis. Memphis beats the Lakers with Adams and Brandon Clark. Remember, he got hurt too. So that's two of your bigs. You just had Jackson last during the playoffs, and they still pushed the Lakers to 6 games, and the Lakers end up beating Golden State last year. So the Lakers are a pretty good team. They just ran into a buzzsaw, a younger, more hungry Denver Nugget team there. So, very interesting play there. We'll see how all this stuff plays out. But I do think that, you look at Chris Porzingis trending upward. Memphis will probably add another player there. But they're on the right track. So far, so good for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, okay, Victor Wembanyama is officially the number 1 pick here. And I want to say this. Let me make sure I've got this here. This was from the Rich Eisen show talking about Wembanyama, and I'm trying to get this soundbite. This was from yesterday. Really good stuff here. And this guy, I forgot who his name is, Bayless something. But I'm looking here now. It's going to take a second for me to I woke up this morning. I was really surprised by that, what happened there with I was really surprised that Smart was actually moved. Let's see if I can find this thing. I hope I didn't pass it up. This is a soundbite here from the Rich Eisen show. Okay. Rich Eisen and Jay Bilas, Brandon Miller drafted. Dang. I thought they was going to get Scoot Henderson. Guess not. All right. Here we go. Listen to Rich Eisen and Jay Bilas. Now, Jay Bilas is a guy who he doesn't really exaggerate on players. And I've been listening to him for a long time, going way back here, 20-something years, But he's not one to be hyperbolic like a Stephen A. Smith or something. But listen to him talk about this Wembanyama guy.
And his skill level is amazing, especially when you consider that size.
Is Wembanyama the greatest prospect you have witnessed since LeBron? Do you think, Jay?
Definitely since LeBron, he's the best. Yeah. I've never seen anybody like him. And the only thing I could really liken it to at my age was playing against Ralph Sampson in college. But you have to use the caveat that if Ralph Sampson were born 20 years ago, 19 years ago, he would have been raised in the game perhaps to do things like Wembanyama does it.
Former number 1 pick out of University of Virginia, I think. Pickles, right?
And
went to Houston.
His skill level is amazing, especially when you consider that size. It sort of defies everything we've been conditioned to expect from a big guy. He handles it like a guard. He's fluid. He can shoot it. But then you add in that size and length, and athleticism, and his defensitive impact will be profound, especially as he gets older and matures. Like, he can switch out. He's not just a shot blocker in and around the lane. He can switch out on a pick and roll and pick up a guard or a wing and give the offensive player like 6-7 feet of space and take away the drive and still recover on a step back jumper and block the shot. He played in the same division as Rudy Gobert, and Gobert in his time there, I think it was 27 games if I remember right. And Wembanyama had 34 games, so 7 more games. But he blocked over 50 more shots in that time period.
Woo!
And he's an extraordinary.
7 more games, blocked over 50 more shots. Remember, Gobert was a former Defensive Player of the Year himself. Jay Billis on Victor Wembanyama.
Talent. And the question I asked myself, Rich, that I just honestly don't know the answer to, and it's a hard thing to wrap your head around, is if you had an 18-year-old LeBron coming out of St. Vincent St. Mary's right now, and you dismissed what he became, obviously, and that's really hard to do because you would take the bird in the hand if you had the choice. But you put him up against, if they were in the same draft this year with a 19-year-old Victor Wembanyama, you'd be scratching your head over the right thing to do. That's how transformational this guy can be, and frankly is. And he's gonna, absent injury, that's the only thing that derails this is injury. And he's shown no history of injury, no hint of it. And in fact, does a lot of injury prevention stuff that is sort of next level for his where he is in the game.
So let me just hit that last point.
Now, I'll say this. He's 7'5". As much as I like LeBron, I watched LeBron's ball movement a lot in high school. I mean, they were hyping him up like nobody's business back in 2003. And you look at this guy, the step back three, his ability to get to the rim, the quickness, but you're talking 6'8" versus 7'5". I'll probably take Wembanyama.
18-year-old LeBron. If
I did not know what LeBron was going to turn out to be. Rich Eisen having Jay Billis on. Listen up.
Coming out of high school in Akron right now, and the 19-year-old Wembanyama coming out of where he's coming out of right now, you truly would be grinding tape and having a table-pounding conversation with your staff as to what's the right thing to do, for real.
I would. Yeah, I would. And I don't know that you'd have to watch tape that much. You'd just be going, okay, you've got a guy that you know is going to be – you got 2 guys that you know are going to be great. LeBron had the body that you're going, nothing stops this body. Absent, running into a truck in the street. Like, you knew there was going to be no issues with durability. There is that lingering thought in the back of your mind that Wembanyama is slight of build, but so was Kevin Durant. Like, remember when Kevin Durant came out of Texas in 2007? Kevin
Durant looked like a Kenyan runner out of Texas in 2007, and people thought that Greg Oden did have the bigger body. He did look more like LeBron. Of course, he was a 7-footer, but we realized that Oden had the foot problems. Durant had some, but nowhere near as much, and he turned out to be Durant.
He couldn't bench press 185 at the one time at the combine, and we were all losing our minds over that, as if they stopped games and have bench press contests in order to continue to play, and that's not been an issue. And I don't think his frame is going to be an issue because of the way the game's played. He's not having to bang up against Nate Thurmond and Artis Gilmore down the low post. That's not the way the game's played anymore. It's certainly not the way he's going to play. He plays all over the floor, and his impact is huge at both ends of the floor. He's can't miss absent injury, and I really believe that's the only thing that has a chance to even come close to derailing what is very likely to be a Hall of Fame career.
When you mentioned the bench press at the combine, Jay Bill.
Yeah, and he also went on to say, listen, this guy is a 6'3" guard stuck in a 7'5" body frame there for Wembanyama. So for him to say this, I do think that this guy is going to be all that. What you say, what are my predictions as far as playoffs and all that? I think that this team is stripped down to the studs. everybody's aware of that it's any kind of basketball. I mean, that's why they got the number 1 pick. They're going to be stripped down. I would give this guy, he'll probably have his minutes limited his first few years. He's trying to continue growing his body, get used to the 82 games schedule. I would give it probably 4 years before you'll start to look at San Antonio as a playoff team. Okay, 3 to 4 years as a playoff team, 6 to 7 years as a championship contender. Between 7 and 8 years, that there's a good chance, pending on the players they get around him, pending on Greg Popovich's health. Popovich has signed a 3-year deal, but even if he retires after 2 or 3 years, I do think that they'll put the proper assistant coach in under him. And I do think that there is a very good chance that this guy could win multiple championships with the San Antonio Spurs, with or without Greg Popovich, long as Popovich gets things going for him. He's really he's better for today's game, Wembanyama. He's better for 2023. If he was drafted, say, in 83, 84, 82, I think it was when Ralph Sampson, sensational player. I want to say he go to Virginia, Pickles, 81 or 82, Ralph Sampson. I want to say I saw a documentary on him. If he were this thin and drafted there and had to go against guys like Bill Laimbeer, for example, or the Boston Celtics in the 80s with Robert Parrish and Kevin, they would have knocked him around. He would have to put a lot of weight and muscle on. But now this is more of a, Pickle says it was Virginia for Sampson, very skilled player. I think that he would have to put on a lot of weight and get the crap beat out of him if he was trying to play back in them days. But in this day and age where it's not as much, that level of physicality is not as allowed, I see how I love the way Jay Billis described that. He is a guy that can play on the outside defensively. He can pick up guards on the outside, big old long arms, and he can get guys on the inside. Good back pedal, very fluid jump shooter. I've seen some of his blocks here where he looked like he was backing into coverage, and the guy take a quick jumper on him, and he block him anyways because he's got such long arms. He was at Yankee Stadium, and he was holding a baseball the other day, and it looked like Pickles, he was holding a golf ball. You know, it looked like me and you holding a golf ball. You know, so he might get banged around a little bit. He probably will put on some weight. I don't think he's got to go crazy with it, though. I really don't. Portland Trailblazers did get Scott Henderson. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, or Scoot Henderson, which is a very good player. I was looking at that. This Scoot Henderson guy, I talked about him yesterday. He's got that build. He may be the best player. He would have been the number 1 player drafted next year. I was listening to a podcast this morning here, and he's got that build. This guy skipped his senior year in high school, played in a semi-pro Ignite league or whatever here in the United States, and he looks pro ready. He looks like a guy like a Doncic as far as the polish is concerned. A guy who played professional basketball, semi-pro ball instead of high school and college coming into the league. So I'm really interested in how Scoot Henderson is going to pan out now. I don't know what Portland's going to do, but I do know this guy looks ready now. I don't think he's going to be Wembanyama good in the long run, but I do think he's got some Damian Lillard type of play. He's got a little Dwayne Wade. He's got that build of Dwayne Wade, that stop and go. This guy's probably going to be better than Brandon Miller, but who knows, because Miller is the more longer player. You could see the talent. Those 3 will probably end up being a big hit, kind of like the top 3 were in the 03 draft, I think, with Carmelo Anthony, It might have been 03 or 04 with LeBron, Carmelo, and Dwayne Wade. Yeah, and Corey says they do not want to. He does not want to play with a young team. Maybe they can try to sell that Scoot Henderson's not your typical young guy. I doubt it. From the get-go, I thought that Miami would be the best fit for Damian Lillard, contrary to what everybody else says. We'll see. We shall see about that. Now, free agency doesn't start. Legal tampering will start next week on June the 30th here. So, but just kind of talking about those guys from everything I see and reading about these guys, I really like that Scoot Henderson guy. Yeah, he seems to be all that. You know, he would be much more talked about if you didn't have a generational guy like a Victor Wembanyama coming up here. Okay. All righty then. Switching sports here. You know, I've been talking about, occasionally I'll talk some baseball on the program, and I have Mad New Yorker here on Fridays. And we talked about the Yankees and the New York Mets. And I mentioned this the other day that the Mets play in the same division as the Atlanta Braves, you know. And the Atlanta Braves now have, according to, I know it's MGM, and now FanDuel has the Braves as plus 370 favorites to win the World Series over the Devil Rays, over the Dodgers, Houston, Texas, and the Yankees. And so I had to ask myself, and asking you all, which teams are better? Now, is this team, this group of guys, are they better than the 90s group? Now, mind you, the 90s Braves, they started their run in 91. Remember, they went to Game 7. Jack Morris, I want to say, who was it? John Smokes. 7, crazy 8-inning game, no runs. The Twins end up winning. That, I looked up the ERA, Pickles. I looked up the ERA, and it was better. It was better for that particular team. You got like a 3.14 ERA there. But, I didn't ask John Smokes. I was looking at one of their I was looking at an article here written by Odyssey, and it talks about John Smokes here. And John Smokes says, Odyssey.com, John Smokes says, from the outside looking in, the pitching was much closer. It's like, it's like 349 the last 2 years. Now, remember, that team, back to that 91 team, they lost the World Series, okay? They later lost to the Yankees. They lost a few NLDS. They were kind of like the Buffalo Bills at the time. They couldn't finish the job, with John Smokes, Maddox, who was the other? Glavine, Steve Avery for a little while. But they never really had the hitting. The time they had better hitting in the late 90s with the Chipper Jones, remember, he's MVP of the league, that the pitching wasn't quite as good. And, of course, the ERA reflects that. But he says the young Atlanta Braves positioned for threat on offense. The offense is much better. Ron Acuna Jr., he talks about Ozzie Abbas and Austin Riley here. They had a lot of Ron Gantz and Otis Nixon. Pendleton, pretty good hitter, but not a great hitter. They just simply did not have and I'm looking at that 91, 92 ERA, 314, 349, 314, 92, 93. And then you look at the later ERAs, pretty close, but the batting averages are so much more. I mean, for instance, that 2021 team, the batting average, home runs, home runs and RBIs for that 2021 team. 239 home runs, 762 RBIs, and then you compared it to it was like 125 for that 91 team. So let me say 91. For example, 141 for 91, 138 for 92. These are home runs. 169 for 93. You know, you practically got almost 100 more home runs hit in the 2021 team. You know, so my thing is the fact that they've already won a World Series. They're favored to win this year. Remember, they were in the NLDS in the 2020 COVID year. Now, you know, when they did win the World Series in the 90s, mind you, folks, the 94, there was no World Series. There was the you had the strike season, you know. There was no World Series that year. You had the Montreal Expos with Randy Johnson on that team. I want to say Pedro. They had a really good team. You had a very good King Griffey Jr. that year. And, you know, the reason why I'm talking about the Braves, I know Strider had a really good game the other night there. My dad was telling me about this pitcher there for the Atlanta Braves. They're not getting enough love. And I'm telling you, the Braves, this group, they just seem more athletic. They hit the ball better. The pitching's not that much difference. They just got more balance this year. Pickles says this year they can hit 1 through 9. Dale Murphy, yeah, you're going way back there. You're going way back there, Chad, prior to the Ted Turner Braves. You had the Superstation in 91 with TBS, and of course you had them on TBS now. Of course, Ted Turner owned those Braves. All the games started at 5 minutes after. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, Spencer Strider. I read a stat on him the other day, and I'm going to see if I've got so many screenshots, but I want to make sure that I've got one here for Spencer Strider. That had ESPN put out something about him the other day. There was so much basketball news that I just could not get to this yesterday. I had a great conversation with John Restano yesterday, folks. If you get a chance here to listen, go back and listen to yesterday's program. Okay, ESPN stats and information. Spencer Strider is the second pitcher since 1901 to tow 300 strikeouts in his first 35 career starts, joining Dwight Gooden. Dwight Gooden was pretty bleeping good. Strider also has 37 strikeouts in relief and appearances that are not included. The man with the mustache, looking like the coach there off that funny show. I've never seen it, but it looks pretty funny off of that Apple TV show where this American football coach is some kind of European soccer, Dave Lasso or whatever. He kind of looks like that character off of Dave Lasso off that Apple TV thing there. Yeah, 6 innings pitched the other day, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts for Strider. You know, they're just playing really good baseball right now. You know, they're young, they're fearless. Ted Lasso. Yeah, thank you, Pickles. Yeah, and you thought, well, they got rid of Freddie Freeman. I thought, well, man, maybe they're dead cheap, you know, like the Braves. And then I read that they're a top 5 payroll in the major leagues. So this they have the potential to surpass those Bobby Cox, you know, Atlanta Braves baseball team. That, hey, let's face it, they only won 1 World Series. They couldn't quite get the hitting. You know, you wish you had a Gary Sheffield on the 91 or 92 Braves and a Chipper Jones rather than the early 2000 Braves. You know, The Yankees always seem to have better bats. Toronto was better. That Philadelphia team seemed to be better. So it is what it is, but we'll see. Matt Olson playing great at first. Yeah, Pickle says so. And I seen something the other day that their whole infield has a shot to be playing at an all-star level. I saw that too the other day, talking about the Atlanta Braves. And to be fair, I want to say that Jack Hirsch is a big New York guy, but he's saying that he's predicting the Braves are going to win the World Series at the beginning of this season from the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffcoat show. So going to be interesting. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention. Pickle says Ron Acuna killing the ball, rocket arm. Yeah, isn't he coming back from a torn ACL? I mean, and they still went to the playoffs last year. Now, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies ended up beating them, but without Ron Acuna, they would. So, it feels like that their farm system is that much better this year than it was in years past too. And that's saying a lot. It's not that much better, but because they had a great farm system back in them days. Of course, Andrew Jones, a great player right out of high school, 18 years old, starting center field there for the Atlanta Braves. Getting guys like that, that's a well of a farm system down there at the Atlanta Braves. So I wanted to give the Braves some love here when I'm talking about Major League Baseball. And I think I did not get any other stats on them. But you get the point. They're pretty bleeping good, and they look like the team to beat. In all the major leagues, it's usually an American League team, and that's just not the case here nowadays. Okay, now one more point here. Something, I've been watching this submarine deal, this Ocean Gate program here. But like a lot of you, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's a missing submarine. They were people exploring. You pay $250,000, a couple of billionaires, to go, and this thing is called the Ocean Gate, to go out and see the Titanic. The 1912 ship that crashed in the middle of the ocean. It's 900 miles off of Boston. And, I was thinking to myself about this all week, 12,000 feet deep into the ocean, 12,500 plus feet deep into the ocean there. 10 hours. Check this out, Pickles. So you go in this really small submarine, which I read on CBS today that they've had problems since 2018, safety problems. A guy in 2021 said that thing is a suicide mission to go on that, to go on this small submarine with 5 other people for 10 hours side by side to go out and see this thing. I think it's crazy. But my whole point about this is that a lot of stuff looks fun on TV. Scuba diving looks fun on TV. Well, Steve Irwin died. He was the crocodile hunter. He was stung by some kind of devil ray or something, right? Something that looked like the emblem of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. You say, what about skydiving? Skydiving looks fun as all get out on TV. And then you look at that and you think, man, if the parachute doesn't pull, that is splat heaven at 35,000 feet above. I think about that. You think about going down in a submarine with all that weight on you. So that supposedly it imploded, I used to think, man, it's your manhood. You want to be a daredevil. You want to prove your manhood. And then the common sense side, when you see this stuff in person and do these sort of things, like a good friend of mine, he was telling me, people talk about what is it? Going on a wave runner, going jet skiing. Well, a friend of mine that I grew up with, guy said he still has prostate problems from a wave runner accident he had when he was 12. It's these things. It, like I said, a lot of stuff like going to a college football game, a major college football. A lot of stuff looks fun on TV. It looks fun on TV, and then when you do it or you're about to do it, you're like the common sense side. And I guess my whole point is people should listen to that voice in your head said, that looks dangerous. Okay. That looks dangerous. It looks fun on TV to bungee jump off of a cliff, on the Mountain Dew commercial. But if you live, you're going to wish you were dead. Just a recovery time. I watched a documentary on Evel Knievel. And, talk about all the surgeries he had. That stuff looks cool to jump. And, we say, well, you're not living. No, I think a lot of that stuff is overplayed. I think people should listen to your inner voice and say, you know what, that's not very smart. Being a daredevil is not very. And people said, Rich, yeah. So you pay $250,000 to go out there with four other people, strangers or whatever, and you're sitting in like sardines, and then you go out a 10-hour trip and go that far down in the ocean. And my thing is, in 2023, Pickles, they couldn't find it. They couldn't pinpoint this thing and say, we have a radar. I mean, it's like they didn't even look into all the precautionary issues. And that's probably why these people made you sign a waiver. I don't think there's going to be any Ocean Gate after this. I mean, maybe there's some. I know Richard Branson used to push the envelope a lot, but I know his daughter said I used to think it was a venture. I watched a documentary on him a few months ago too. I think it was on HBO or Showtime. And the guy that founded Virgin Records and Virgin Mobile, Virgin everything, billionaire. In the 80s, he was trying to take a hot air balloon around the world, and he missed death by an inch, like 1,000 times. This guy's got more life than a non-life cat, And his daughter's grown up now, and she says, I thought it was adventurous then when I was a little kid watching Dad do this. But he said, now looking back on it, if he would have died and my mom would have had to raise us, that's pretty selfish, That was pretty selfish of Dad to do that. And Richard said, yeah, it was pretty stupid of me to do that stuff. So, my grandmother used to say I didn't get old being no fool, And those rockets, Pickles, I mean, it's a matter of time before something goes wrong. I mean, when I was 5 years old, I remember the explosion in 86, the rocket blowing up in 80 with all the astronauts on there in 86. But this submarine, and of course, you got your, and I'm sad for the people who died. I mean, one was a 19-year-old kid. You think you're going on an adventure, really you're going on a death march there. But you do got some rotten piece of crap on Twitter is still on there. Listen to what this woman said off Twitter. She says, respect the Coast Guard for doing everything they could to rescue and recover these spoiled rich people. I mean, somebody's son died, and this peel, and this is like, on Twitter you have every lowest common denominator scum of the earth that probably should have been on that submarine. People like this at NAKIAKNMI. It would probably be good if she was on that thing, right? Lord forgive me, I'm just kidding. But, so you got people saying stuff like that. But I just don't know why people want to do that, man. I mean, different strokes for different folks. I just don't think having a good time is risking my life for something like that. I guess I'm rambling here, but I think it's okay not to look like a cow. It's okay to look like a coward in front of your friends, to my guy friends, to my younger listeners. I used to be afraid of the big rides at the roller coaster, and then I manned up and I rode the biggest, baddest roller coaster you can, just to prove I can do it. And I thought about taking that a step farther and a step farther and a step farther. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be bungee jumping off no cliffs. I'm not going no high-end, I'm not going skydiving, hang gliding. Man, again, a lot of stuff, folks, looks good on TV. Pickles. It looks so much fun on TV. It looks great going to a big-time college football game on TV. Well, the last big-time college football game I went to on TV was Tennessee, Florida in 2016. They were both ranked pretty high. It was 90-something degrees out there. I'm paying over $200 to sit in a bleacher seat. This woman was being drug out there by the paramedics because she was having heat exhaustion. Her face was red. Okay. The ATM machine was down. They couldn't accept debit cards. You only had cash. The restrooms were overcrowded. It was awful. It was too much money to park, too crowded. I couldn't see the whole field. Again, TV does this. TV, high definition TV, People see stuff on TV. I want to go scuba dive. Well, Steve Irwin died scuba diving. I want to go like on the people on the TV. They're having so much fun drinking beer and out here, wave running. Last time I went tubing, I was like 15 in Florida. Almost drowned because I thought I was too cool for a life jacket. I got caught one of them rib ties. My friend's mom threw me a life jacket, and so it's just I think TV does that to people. It's misconception. There's a lot of fake people on TV, and a lot of this stuff are just stunts. And you see stuff. Please do not try this at home, you moron. Didn't even want to go. His dad talked him into it. Yeah, he's dead. Now, Pickles, you got something I didn't know. That's an adventure. No, we're sitting in here like sardines for 10. That ain't no adventure. That sounds like an assignment. I don't want to do that. I'll just watch you do it. And then I was chilling home and have my own, go to the restroom when I want to go to the restroom, So I don't know. It is thoughts and prayers with the families. I don't care if they're rich or not, they're humans. But I guess the whole moral of the story is try not to emulate stuff you see on TV. Look into it before you do it. There's a lot of mountain climbing. I don't want to go mountain climbing, man. Again, that looks cool on TV, right? On Mission Impossible. Looks cool on TV. There was a good movie one time with Sylvester Stallone when he was mountain climbing. Rambo, the military, all that stuff. It's all TV, man. People get caught up in the movies and stuff, and when you start to really do that, you're like, no, the common sense side of your head, ones that people's got some sense, they think to themselves, no, I don't want to do this, and that's what you should listen to, young folks. So, anyways, if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow. Cliffhanger, yeah, that was a good one, Pickles. Cliffhanger was a good one, man. One of my favorites. That one, the first couple Mission Impossibles, I didn't watch like number 50, but those were pretty good. Hank Williams Jr., didn't he get hurt really bad in a mountain climbing accident? That's why he grew the beard out. So it's just that stuff, man. Again, it's great for the little Jeep commercial and your Mountain Dew commercial, but people that live long, they don't do stuff like that, man. I mean, it's just they don't track your manhood. Your common sense is saying, no, this is stupid, man. Yeah, tore his face off, man. Sonny and Cher, remember Sonny Bono? He died in a skiing accident. So, I mean, that high-end ski boarder, I ain't saying don't live life, but a lot of this stuff is not, it's not as fun as it seems. And if you get in an accident, the recovery time's not worth the thrill of making it down the hill. If that makes, this is from a guy who's, I've messed my face up pretty good in skateboarding accidents. You know, I've told a few of you about, a few of you grew up with me, y'all know I've got bike accidents, skateboarding accident, car accident, you know. So anyways, I'll be back tomorrow, folks, with Carlos Mad New Yorker shot. Yeah, just get on the Pickles put Sonny Bono died at Aspen, couldn't ski. Let's get on the advanced slope and prove our manhood on there. Now, you know, cut his whole life short, man. So anyways, I'll see you all same time, same place here on Sports Scope with Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. We'll go over this draft and a lot of the big stories that broke all these trades throughout the week. Have a good one, everybody.